Welcome to Thriver TV, the place to break free from narcissistic abuse with quantum tools and understandings. And I really wanted to today share with you this topic for Mother's Day because it's one very close to my heart. And I believe it's one that is very important for the future of humankind going forward in order to have relationships of unity, trust, respect, and true mutuality, cooperation, and partnership. Today, we're going to talk about how as mothers we can model this evolutionary path for our daughters as well as our sons to create a greater respect and healthier mutuality between the sexes. When I discuss this topic with men about women being more empowered, especially those men who are quite old-fashioned, I find the best way to begin is to ask them this. Would you like your daughter to be brought up by parents who taught her her values and worth, or would you like her to be submissive and subservient in her relationships? Of course, the answer is a no-brainer. This Thriver TV episode is not about attacking men. I'm deeply passionate about equal rights and the feminine being valued, but in no way does this mean that I'm discrediting the masculine. Fundamentally, I'm a humanist, and in no shape or form do I believe that men aren't abused and treated horrifically by the opposite sex also. Also, I'm not interested in burning my bra or lifting things that weigh a ton if a man is available to do it. And I adore being feminine, and I love men looking out for me. They love doing that too, just as I love offering men what I can to assist them with appropriately as well. Furthermore, I just want to say on that topic of divisions between men and women, many men in this community cry out and they say, "You're only talking about men being narcissists and women being abused." No, this community and my work doesn't. And it's also a complete fallacy that this community only caters to women. We have many men who are on the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Program, NARP, and who are subscribers to my work and in the NARP forum. It's just that men don't speak up and share as freely as we do, because that's so much more innate for us as women. So guys, please post more, share more, and get more involved so that your brothers know that you are there. Myself and the MTE team and this entire community of Thrivers love it when you do that. So we are all in this together, healing the terrible ways the genders have been at war with each other, as well as how we've struggled so much to embrace the healing of our own feminine, masculine within. And we're in times of accelerated change that are significantly overthrowing gender definitions and roles. And we're being called more than ever to integrate all of this healthily if we're going to be able to create and maintain healthy relationships with self and others, regardless of gender. So what do mothers have to do with this? So much. I believe that this is a time where the power of women and emotional connection and healing is giving birth to rapidly ascending times and a new earth. And what I'm deeply interested in, as I know so many of you are too, is in healing abuse and generations of abuse dynamic that has plagued this world so disastrously. And a big part of that is the rise in personal rights, personal value and compassion and consideration for ourselves and each other, otherwise known as oneness, as well as a better understanding and implementation of emotional health and healthy subconscious conditioning and programming for ourselves and our children and our future generations. As mothers, we can help midwife this shift, and we need to, as sadly the patriarchal systems have not encouraged, fostered, or encouraged emotional health. Rather, fear, shame, and might were valued. These patriarchal systems also stripped rights away from valuing women and even granted permission for the abuse of women emotionally, physically, and financially. And thank goodness humanity is waking up to this and eradicating it. We see so much in the no to violence now and the Me Too movement and all of these things. Our world is waking up. However, I can almost hear some women saying, no, it hasn't woken up. Men still slaughter women emotionally and overpower them, and there is no support in the systems to protect women. Then there are those of you men yelling out, what? The systems totally favour women now. Women get the children, assets, and destroy men. If you are a man who has suffered a terrible narcissistic mother or partners, please acknowledge there are beautiful women out there with hearts of gold, and your own healing can and will bring them into your experience, just as the identical truth is for us women regarding the abuse that we've suffered at the hands of men. And please know you are both talking about narcissists. And as I sit back overviewing this entire community, I see both genders trashed financially and legally by narcissists regularly. This only changes when you heal from the inside out, which is what the Thriver Recovery work is all about. But the actual healing work is not the discussion for today. Rather, this Mother's Day episode is about a vision that I feel called to stand up into, and it's one that I would love other mothers to feel passionate about as well. Namely, leading the way for our children, future generations, and our new world. And what I want to talk about today is this evolution of woman and how as mothers we can set a new order and understanding for our daughters and our sons and also our partners. When we empower ourselves and other women and significantly our daughters to inspire good men to stand up and respect them and love them healthily, then no more is there the anger and the victimhood of how bad and abusive men can be. Also too, we minimise the potential for women to be abused. They simply become women who won't be snared by narcissistic men. As a woman who has worked on my own evolution regarding men, and I desperately needed to, I don't have a daughter, but I certainly know that if I did, how I would teach her to feel on the inside and express herself. Absolutely in no shape or form would I bring her up to be a man-hater or feel superior to men. Rather, I would teach her how to be powerful in a healthy feminine way and to share that power healthily. I would also model for her how to respect and value herself and how to never tolerate being abused or devalued. I would raise a daughter who would be prepared to lose it all to get it all, to love the sanctity of her own soul first and foremost, and to live in a reality generating healthily from that place rather than unrequited potential. What does it mean to be a powerful feminine woman? It means to be gentle and loving as well as fiercely authentic. It means to be our own source of love, approval, security and survival in order to no longer hand our life, soul and power away as a result of powerless dependencies. How do we teach our daughters to be powerfully feminine? By leading by example. We cannot take others to where we've not gone ourselves, especially our children. Where our energy goes is where they go. It breaks my heart when I hear women in the community with daughters who ask this question: should I report him for being violent with me? I'm scared for my family and myself and my children losing their home and tearing the family apart. And this I know because I so often handed away my rights and truth and safety for the fear of loss that is so damaging for our children to see their mother relinquish her rights and remain locked in her disease of codependency being abused. Her male children lose respect for her. They sense they don't have a mother who looks after herself. So why on earth would she be qualified to tell them what to do with their life? Often this loss of respect turns into their own bad and even narcissistic treatment of her. And this is what they see and accept as normal behaviour. Our daughters don't have modelled to them their own rights or the boundaries that abuse and being treated cruelly is not on and should never be tolerated, or that there is no other option than to remain trapped in such soul-destroying conditions. Naturally, our daughters will also follow the programs of being with and clinging to abusers, no matter how badly they are treated. The compromising of these essential soul truths is far more impactful than losing bricks and mortar or what was thought to be our children's essentials. What's more, absolutely, those parents who honour their truth and set the example by leaving abusive situations generally rebuild their lives in a far superior way, as well as inspiring more love and respect from their children as a result of honouring themselves and becoming healed, self-generative sources. It's quantum law, so within, so without. And what is fabulous is their daughters grow up respecting themselves, breaking the cycle of abuse, knowing they have rights and personal power, and their sons grow up knowing it is usual and normal for women to have their own power and command being respected, loved and valued healthily. This is in stark contrast to the often too familiar programming our generation received from our mothers. An extract from a 1950s home economics book took the internet by storm. You may know of it because it expressed how times have changed and how far we've come. And it spoke about how a woman's purpose truly was her man. There were sections in this extract about having dinner ready, preparing yourself, having the house spotless, making the children clean and presentable, don't have any complaints for him, and make sure the evening is all about him. When I read this article out to my partner, Brad, he smiled and he laughed and he said, "The perfect woman." And then quickly he said, "I'm joking, babe," when he received my glare that could kill any human at 100 paces. It's like that. Because you see, this is the thing. Back then, women were taught not to have rights, not to have a voice, and not to make any waves or have any needs. They were taught their sole purpose and survival was to make a man happy so that he would choose her, stay with her and provide for her and the children. It was usual for her to forego her hobbies, interests, friendships and a choice of career, all for him. Sadly and tragically, that became a recipe for women to relinquish their power to choose and generate their own life, and they stayed on in relationships, often even when being abused, because he was her everything. Of course, I acknowledge that there were old-fashioned women who were powerful, capable women and wonderful role models to their daughters, but that's not the stereotype I'm talking about. Generally, women were taught to be subservient and to devote their lives to their men. Now we have a rise of the feminine, and as mothers, I believe it is our work now to shed ourselves of the powerless, helpless programs and fears we embodied to claim our feminine power and steer our children and this world toward healthy unity consciousness. Whether we are mothers or sisters to other girls and women, we can help the divine feminine by leading by example. And here are some of the ways I believe we can do this by expressing to her it is powerful to be feminine and that it's not weak to be honest, loving and authentic, including sharing what we really feel and what we would really like from others. She can establish her values, rights and truths in order to choose who and what is aligned with those, as well as boundaries, and even leave people who are not respectful of those. In this age and time, she can now shed the model of being a powerless and dependent woman on a man for love, security and success, and instead be a generator of her own full and incredible life, and share her commodities with a man who is also full and healthy. She is allowed to say no to people when things don't feel right or healthy for her in her body and being. Her inner relationship and her joy of being alive and creative is the foundation of her life, whether or not she has a boyfriend or husband, or a partner if she's gay. She is valued and valuable when she doesn't have a love partner. Her opinions, observations and intelligence are valuable and valued. Her beauty is within, which then shines out to the world, and she is loved and accepted and enough as she is. She does not need to give up her femininity, heart, creativity, intuition, lovingness and authentic self, no matter how successful she is, in order to be with a partner. And in fact, this is her greatest strength, magnetism and ability to co-create and exist with great men as well as all people and all facets of life. So I hope that this has inspired the gorgeous ladies in this community. And my heart goes out to those of you on Mother's Day who may have suffered the terrible trauma of parental alienation from your daughters or sons, and those of you who have a narcissistic daughter or son. So please, this Mother's Day, feel my love and my blessings. And I want to remind all of my sisters today that you are beautiful and smart and strong. And please pass that message on to other amazing women you know, as well as our daughters. And for those of you wishing to heal for your own sake and become an evolutionary mother for your daughters, your sons, and their future generations, I would love you to join me in this energy. And you can do that by signing up to my free 16-day course, which also includes a wonderful workshop with me with Quantum Freedom Healing. There's also 2 free ebooks and so much more. And you can access these by clicking the link at the top right of this video. And if you want to see more videos, make sure that you like and subscribe so you'll be notified as soon as each new one is released. So until next time, happy Mother's Day and lots of love. Bye-bye.